Okay, well, welcome. I'm so glad that you guys are joining us, and I really want to thank everybody on the panel today. I'm going to have everyone go around and do a little introduction. Make sure you're letting everyone know what name you use on Insight Timer and all the beautiful places and things that we want to hear about you. So I'm just going to start at my top, which is Alejandro. Alejandro, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Melanie. Thank you so much, Violet. My name is Alejandro H. That's my name here on Insight Timer. I am a health and wellness coach, but I'm also a meditation and mindfulness teacher. And I am so honored to be here. My approach is one of vulnerability. I just got off my Saturday lives, so this is my second one for today. And I am so honored to be here with all of you, and thank you all of you who have joined. So thank you, Melanie, and thank you, Violet, for having me here today.
Thank you. Sonic Yogi.
Hi, everyone. My name's Jonathan, and I go by Sonic Yogi on Insight Timer. I've been on Insight Timer since around 2016, and I produce meditation music. My background is that I'm a musician, so I studied that in university, and in the course of my life, I discovered meditation and yoga and fused the two passions and began creating and sharing this music. So grateful to be with you all this morning, and look forward to our discussion. Thank you.
Daniel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Roquillo. I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm a content creator, transformational coach. I've been on what I call the path to freedom, this beautiful path of awakening or enlightenment or sanity or whatever we want to call it, for a number of years. And it is my mission to assist individuals to wake up to their true nature and to transform their lives forever and for the better. So thank you so much, Melanie and Violet, for having me. I'm very much looking forward to this space and the time that we get to spend together. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you say me, was it? Hi, I'm Maria, and yeah, I've been on Insight Timer for a while. And 2 years ago, I was actually diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm kind of using my own singing voice on my own healing journey. And so on Insight Timer, I've been experimenting with how do I turn up and find a sort of a safe space in my body while I'm singing, and then just sort of seeing what happens when I inhabit that space. And it's been really amazing, actually, the more and more I just relax into my own body and allow my singing voice to create a path for me, the more healing comes to me and the more healing comes to other people. So it's actually been quite an amazing journey, if very challenging. But I feel like there's a path through a forest almost, with the singing voice leading the way. And along the way, I'm meeting a load of magical people. And what I predominantly do is sing very simple nature-based lullabies, chants, healing songs that I've written, and just see what happens, really. So that's lovely.
Don.
Hi, I'm Melanie and Violet. Thanks so much for putting this on. It's really, really sweet to be here, and it's nice to meet everybody on the panel. Jonathan, a big fan of yours for many years now, so it's been really cool to listen to your music and to meet you now face to face. I've been a teacher here on Insight for about 4 years, and I do a live event every week on Wednesday for an hour or so. And we generally generate from 1 week to the next what the topic is going to be. We just have been in about a 6-week cycle talking about what enlightenment is and how we might know that we're on a path of enlightenment and what that path could contain and things like that. So from the comments and the conversation on those live events, we just kind of keep it rolling to the next week, and it's been really, really fun. Like my new friend Alejandro, I'm very vulnerable on those calls, and I talk about my own stuff, and I don't try to pretend like I'm some sort of guru above everybody else. It's just facilitating this lovely discussion. So thanks everybody for coming on, who's listening. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much, Don. I'm just going to say that I think it's amazing. I mean, I do believe that in most spaces, women are encouraged to be more vulnerable than men. And Don and Alejandro, I have seen both of your lives, as I have Daniel and Jonathan, but it's a really, and Pierre, it's a really important thing to do. And I value that. As the mom of 2 boys, and obviously I have a husband, I think it's just a beautiful thing that you're doing and giving people that space. So, thank you.
Yeah, vulnerability is strength.
It is. I'm just gonna address that people are saying the chat is very the voice is very staticky. So I know Violet is working on that right now. I think she might have a loose connection, but we're gonna keep going, and I know she's gonna get that fixed. Pierre.
Hello, everybody. I'm Pierre from Italy. My experience is that I've approached meditation around 4 or 5 years ago. I'm suffering from arthritis from my 20s. So I was facing other issues in my life. And I started this journey, but it's not easy to find your way to meditate. At least for me, it has not been. So I also find my teachers here, which was lovely to connect with many beautiful teachers. And after I started taking some private lessons, I just wanted to go back to my main passion, which was music. I started playing around 11. My main instrument is guitar, even though I play quite a few. And it was very, very natural the way then I started to teach, which actually is playing live on Insight Timer since February this year. It's been just amazing. I love it. It's the way I also like for meditation myself. And yeah, the connection and the community has been loving and caring. So I'm very happy also for today. I know some of you, and I'm looking forward to see what the conversation brings up.
Thank you. Kirsten. We can't hear you.
Can you see if everyone's having sound? I think I fixed the sound issue. You can hear me? Can you hear me talking as well, Maisha? Oh, thank God. Can you hear everybody else now? Melanie, say something.
Hello, OBS. Come on, get it together. Work.
Well, I think it's working.
Oh, Judy says static.
I don't know why there's static. It's crackling.
We're not staticky, but the rest of us are now, Violet.
That's so weird. All right.
And Kirsten, no one can hear you.
Jessica, unfortunately, I don't have time to retrieve email and read articles about static, but thank you so much. Let me just try and see if I can figure it out. But anyway, I'm sorry, keep going.
I think that, Kirsten, you want to try again? We'll see if people can hear you.
Try again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, cool. I forgot to push a button. So my name is Kirsten and I'm in the Netherlands, and I've been in Insight Timer as a teacher for a while now, a couple of years, and most people know me because when I do live sessions, I use the wind chimes, so Corsi chimes and other chimes. So yeah, I do meditations. I have a couple of courses. I love human design, and with everything that I do, so my recordings and my live sessions and my courses and everything, it's my goal to help you to not only relax, but to really bring the magic back into your life and to help you feel more empowered, more confident, and so that you can really thrive and, you know, experience that magic of life again, even though life can sometimes be hard. And yeah, I got into meditation when I was having a hard time after my divorce, alone with my kids. They were really small at the moment then, and then yeah, life was really challenging, and meditation really helped me. And then somehow, someday, I started creating meditations, and here I am years later, still doing that and sharing it with everyone here. So, I guess that's it.
Thank you. And really quickly, I'm Melanie Underwood, and I do mindful cooking and intuitive baking. And I've been teaching for 28 years. And I think the reason I got into mindfulness was because when I worked in hotels and restaurants 30 some years ago, it was a lot of stress and I had a ton of anxiety. And by tapping into mindfulness and meditation, I realized that I could really calm myself down and use it as an amazing tool. And then I started bringing it to where I worked, and not everyone was super receptive, but it's been a really beautiful journey trying to bring it to people through food. Violet, do you want to do a little intro now that people can hear you?
Yes. I'm sorry, I haven't been paying attention because I'm trying to figure out the sound and the static. Why my microphone wasn't working originally, and now it is. But yeah, so thank you for being patient. And if the static goes away at any point, please let me know. Lori, you think it was just you? No, I think it was other people too, but thank you for that. Thank you for being kind. So yeah, so as all of you know, we've been doing, I think this is like our 13th Ask Your Guides Live. We've been doing these since June, and I love them. You know, it was a thought that I had in the shower, as most of you know by now, and ran past Melanie, and Melanie, who is always awesomely supportive of me, who I know a lot of you have asked how long we've known each other. We met on Insight Timer in January and actually met in person for the first time in April. So while I have not known her my whole life, I feel like I have. Did I adjust the latency? No, I didn't do any of that, Jamie. I'll have to mess with that later, unfortunately, because if I start doing all that now, I might mess up the rest of the live. So, but anyway, again, I'm distracted. I'm gonna let Melanie start. So if you have questions for our panel, please put them in the chat. And Melanie is going to keep track of them, and she's going to put them out to our lovely panel. And thank you everyone for being here.
Yes. Okay. So this is a question that came in earlier for everyone. What is your preferred style of meditation in your personal practice? Don?
Great question. Mine has gone through a lot of evolution. I started meditating in 1976, so it's been quite a while. Part of what's happened for me, I've moved from visualization through some of Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings around meditation. And the last couple of years, I've just been really fascinated with Deepak Chopra's book, MetaHuman, and his ideas about these three states of consciousness that are operating all the time: the conscious level, subconscious level, and consciousness. And then kind of combining that with one of my favorite teachers here on Insight Timer, Mooji's meditations, which I highly recommend. I just sort of open things up in terms of my awareness to feeling the stillness. And I've been considering the stillness that comes, the physical sense of it and the consciousness sense of it, as this great field of the universe, that's actually what we're actually experiencing. And we do this in the live events every week, also the same kind of meditation. So it's been really simple, just kind of, I literally think of it as sort of opening up shutters to be aware of the stillness, and then just letting that kind of permeate and fill me. And I'm doing that mornings, and I do it on those live events. It's really been really fun. Great question. Thank you for that question, whoever sent that in.
Thank you. Sometimes people send them to me on Instagram, and I always feel like those are the people who don't want to be known. Kirsten?
Yeah, so like I said, I started meditating when I was in a really low point in my life, when I was really feeling super stressed and sad and angry and all the things. And for me, guided meditations, a little bit like the ones that I make, like really meditations that take you on a journey to somewhere where you experience something magical. That is what I love most. And sometimes it happens that, you know, you hear something and then you're like, wait, what? I missed something, because then I tend to fall asleep during the meditation. But yeah, and one other thing that I really, really love is empowering affirmations. I love the Kenneth Soares, especially the 6-minute ones. They're very short and sweet, and you can listen in the morning quickly while doing something else, or the longer ones. But yeah, so like really a magical journey or affirmations. Yeah, and really listening to the affirmations, even though doing something else, you know, I feel like it really enters your whole like being energy, and really helps to to feel more empowered, and you know, like you can really take on everything that you will everything that will happen during your day, right? You know, never know what's going to happen, but empowering affirmations in the morning really help. So yeah.
Thank you. Daniel?
All right, so great question. I agree with Dawn. Meditation is such a fundamental tool that we get to lean into on this beautiful path of awakening. And my meditation, actually, I started meditating like 25 years ago, and I started meditating because I had heard people say that meditation is something that I should do. I mean, teachers and everybody that I listened to, they were meditating, and they were all saying, "Oh, this is so awesome! This is so great! Everybody should meditate." And so I started. And I remember sitting in my living room. I was living by myself at the time, and I was sitting on my couch. I lit all these candles and was burning some incense, and I was sitting there, and all the images, everyone I'd ever heard talk about meditation, they were saying that, oh, you need to sit cross-legged. So I would sit cross-legged, but my hips aren't that flexible. So it was a challenge for me to sit cross-legged, but that was what meditation was for me at the time. And I was living in an apartment, and there was a street outside my window, and the neighbors, there were a lot of noises and a lot of distractions, and my mind kept going even more crazy than when not in meditation. And so to me, my initial encounter with meditation actually ended with me dropping it all together, because to me, it wasn't working. My perception, my opinion, my judgment of it was, this is not working, because meditation to me back then was to get the mind to shut up, to be really, really quiet, to become fully still. And as it wasn't, I believed I was doing something wrong, or that I was not the one to meditate, that meditation wasn't for me. And so I picked it up a number of years later. And to answer the actual question, my favorite modality of meditation is completely silent meditation, because that's where I really get to connect with myself, with my heart, with my soul, with this benevolent, loving presence. That's where I catch the guidance. I love guided meditations and other forms of meditations, but the most powerful for me on my journey in the unfolding of me is the silent ones. Not always easy, and I still have many moments where I sort of drift in and out in the meditation. I can be very, very present, and then the mind goes on a trip somewhere, and I wake up 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, realizing that, oh, I'm to come back to the breath, because the breath is what I use as my tool of meditation. Just being with the breath, witnessing it, observing it, allowing the air to flow in and out, just being with it, not having to do anything, not having to make it happen, not participating in it, just witnessing and observing it. So coming back to the breath, beginning again, and coming back to the breath, beginning again. And that's my absolute favorite when it comes to meditation. So thank you. Great question.
Thank you. Alejandro?
I'm a baby meditator. I think I started meditating maybe 7 years ago, and it was in the midst of having lost absolutely everything. I discovered meditation through yoga, and I've always been ADD and I've always been all over the place. So sitting in stillness, the idea of what meditation looked like from the outside was definitely a no for me. And a friend of mine convinced me to go to a very early yoga um, session, and I went, and there I was. And in Savasana, I, for the first time, experienced the beauty of silence and stillness. And I fell in love with it. Not only was I in the middle of what is so far the worst season of my life, but being able to quiet the mind and come back and be rooted in the breath was so powerful. So I come from a background that said yoga and meditation were not very good, were, evil things. And so I started having to deconstruct certain beliefs of from my upbringing, and doing my own research and speaking with mentors and asking the questions and finding that for me, I started with guided meditations, and then it evolved into just music, and now practicing stillness, which for me, I don't, sometimes it's not very long, whatever I need at the time. But the formal practice for me is finding the stillness so I can listen to myself, and I can connect with spirit and with guidance, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, whatever that sounds like. So my formal practice is that. Although when I teach guided meditations. But yeah, it's been a journey to find stillness and fall in love with stillness even when the mind rages. So yeah, great question. Thank you.
Thank you. And for me, I grew up on a farm, so I would sit outside and listen to animals, and that was my stillness. And I would literally lie down in the field and just look up at the sky, which is something that I still do, which is actually really important to me. When I started meditating, it never resonated with me to do guided meditations. So like Kirsten, I do affirmations. I took TM many years ago, which also sort of resonates with me, although I know a lot of people have their feelings about it, but being able to repeat something is very helpful for me to center. And I think that's the most, probably the one I use the most now is affirmations, especially just, on my own personal journey. Maria.
Hey, yeah, I wouldn't really have a style of meditation. Like obviously I've been inspired and learned from many, many different people, and incorporated that probably into my being. But at the moment where I'm coming from is almost from a creative space. Like it's the same place as meditation, but so if I was to write a song or a poem or something, I just sort of wait, and without knowing. And obviously if you're going to start writing a song about a tree, a lot of normal lines might come into your mind, a lot of what you might expect to say in a song might come into your mind, and I let all those pass until something unexpected comes, and it's like, now there's the starting point. And so I suppose I do that with my own meditation where I might look at a nettle and just myself and the nettle are just together. And there's no expectation, there's almost no expectation that anything is going to happen. It's just, there's almost a physical connection of just, and that's it. So that's kind of my meditation. I live on a farm. I have 13 acres and we have horses, and sometimes some people ask me, is nature good for you? And I feel like nature is good for me if I listen to it. And I think that's the journey for me, is to settle into it and to settle into nature. And so obviously there's, like some people have said, there's moments where you achieve that stillness and then it's gone, but it's nice to at least have that moment to come back to. So that's kind of what I do. So
Thank you. And Maria, I'm going to go back to you because someone asked a question. Did you always sing? And what made you decide to bring it to your healing practice and bring it to Insight Timer?
good question. Yes, I've always sang in my family. I was the singer, which is unfair to my other family members because they also sing. But I was the one who was good, if you know what I mean. But I never pursued it because it something didn't sit with me. I was a very loud singer, very like, I'm here, I can sing, and it never resonated with me. And from working with groups, I was working with groups as if I was teaching them, but then I was seeing things that I was like, oh, this is interesting. You're a beginner singer, but I like what you're doing. And so there was a sort of a reverse thing happening all the time. And I learned myself to just be calmer and calmer and calmer in my voice. And then I suppose there was a few moments where I started to see things with people where I was able to guide them into a physical state of relaxation while they sang, and also sort of a mental state of connection. And my nervous system would just, like this, just relax. If they could inhabit the space of storytelling as they sang, my nervous system I was suddenly out of fight or flight mode, and I became fascinated as to what is this. And it's just the simplicity. If you can connect your own story to a song, it just becomes magical. And that story can be anything. It doesn't even have to be the story of the song. It could be just the story of where you heard the song, or the story of how you're nervous as you sing the song. But if you inhabit it with the words, it is spellbinding. And that is for every single singer, even if you're like, oh, I can't really sing. But if you can, it's amazing if you can connect to it. It is spellbinding. So I became obsessed by this, and I was like, I want to do this. And it became, as I got sick, that my voice got weaker. And it was in that place where I found a very beautiful healing voice, as in beautiful in the sense that it was healing. And that's where my voice wants to be used. And so that's the sort of the gift of now I feel like I'm a singer. Now I feel like I'm doing the work. So that's sort of where I came from as using the voice as a healing mode. So it's sort of a circular journey where I'm constantly learning from people and constantly finding new places to settle into, almost like the dust is settling. And off we go. And all I'm doing in my sessions is just relaxing physically, more and more and more, and just letting what happens. That's it. Letting it be what it is. Yeah, so it's lovely. It's very simple in some ways and just very magical as well.
Maria, I don't know if you saw this in the chat, but BD said, Maria's magical music offerings changed my life. And she also
Wow.
said, when you sing our words in the chat, it's so powerful.
Oh, thanks, PD. Hi, good to see you here. And that's beautiful because, yeah, it's, and for me, what it is, it more and more opens up the possibility that every single person's voice is a magical healing possibility. regardless of how you see yourself as a singer. It really, it's absolutely true. So, thanks, Phoebe.
That is really beautiful. And Maria, I can attest to that. Jessica asked for Pierre, when did you start playing music and how did you arrive on exploring the healing frequencies you play and how have they influenced your own life?
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, I started at 11, around 11 with the classic guitar. And then I went through a really wide range of experiences as a guitarist, also oboist, bass player. But yeah, then I left, sort of left playing during quite a few years. And as I mentioned at the beginning, when I started my personal healing journey through meditation and through also the guidance of teachers, it really clicked on me that music was my meditation, because I always improvised. I never did cover music except when I was 17. I mean, I like it when I can flow with the music and just let my creativity express without having to follow a script. So it was natural to me to offer this. And then I realized that since it was a healing practice that I do, why don't add an extra, let's say, a boost to this practice? Because I never liked to play the standard tunings. I never liked to play the standard guitar tunings. So I investigated, I made a research, my own approach on solfeggio frequencies and other frequencies. And I mean, it's a very fascinating topic. I won't get into that, but to me, at least, is a wonderful mindfulness practice to retune my instruments, to think and focus on a specific chakra when I play a specific tuning. To me, it empowers my practice, and I feel and read the feedbacks. So I believe it is powerful. So it was connected with my own experience as a meditator. And to answer also the general question, which is also interesting, I have either more ease in doing movement meditations like yin yoga, a walk meditation, or if I am still, for example, early morning or in the nighttime, as others said, I do like visualizations or music meditation. So some focus point, which is not simply the breath. Even if I'd really like to envision myself in a few years of practice that I can do a wonderful breath meditation by myself without any guidance. But as I have been suggesting to others, it's not so easy. And the last tip I want to add on this is that if you, for example, want to set an alarm, and because you say, I want to learn to meditate, as also Alejandro was saying, it's not how it works. And especially if you put an alarm in your busiest part of the day, that will be including, it could be even worse. You could also add stress to your situation, because you can neither do what you have to do and neither properly meditate, because it's really, really difficult to skip from one mind state and body state to another. So that's a suggestion. If you want to set an alarm, for example, for a body scan or a breath work or a music meditation, at least put it in a moment of the day when your activity is not at its top. You have some rest moment. That's what I think.
Thank you so much.
Hear me? I think I fixed the problem. Can everyone hear clearly now?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. All right, I'm just gonna sit back here with a bottle of liquor. Don't mind me.
Well, the good news is Violet uploads these, and when she does, she takes out all the static. So if you missed any words of wisdom from any of us, then you can still listen to it when she uploads
Listen, I'm
it.
just gonna have everybody repeat everything they said the past half hour while I was sitting here sweating, okay?
Oh, yeah, let's send love
Oh,
to Violet right now. She needs it.
Way to go, Violet.
Yes, Violet, thank you.
that was
Okay,
me dying, okay? You couldn't tell, but that was me dying.
I think everybody could tell Violet. I think that in your mind, none of us knew, but we all felt it. Okay, Jonathan, this question came in from you because someone said, like, you do these amazing things with the Ohm Store, and how did you come to connect with them and be an ambassador for them?
Yeah, so it was, I guess I should introduce the Ohm Store first for those of you that don't know. The Ohm Store it's OHM, and it's a retail store here in the United States. They sell singing bowls, and they also have their own community. They have group meditations, and it's run by brother and sister co-founders, Frank and Nikki Moserino. And I found the Ohm Store, or they found me actually during the pandemic. And they were looking to add courses to their offerings. And they wanted to make a video course about choosing singing bowls. For those of you that don't know, I play singing bowls and have singing bowl recordings here on Insight Timer. And so they wanted to create this video course, and Nikki reached out and asked if I was interested, and I said yes. And so I worked with them for about a year, kind of in that downtime of the pandemic, creating that course. And I've been working with them ever since, and have developed a good relationship with Frank, who's running most of the business now. Nikki took a step back to raise her child. And so, yeah, it's been a wonderful relationship, but it was just one of those things that sort of happened by happenstance, I guess. But I know Nikki found me through Insight Timer. So thank you, Insight Timer. And yeah, it's been a beautiful relationship. I've really enjoyed working with them. For those of you that aren't aware of them, they make custom singing bowls. And so they have a variety of singing bowls with different designs. They work closely with artisans in Nepal, and really have a lot of high quality singing bowls. And so, yeah, I'm really grateful and happy to be associated with their work.
And Jill put in the chat, they even have a singing bowl named the Sonic Yogi Bowl.
Yeah, I was super excited about that. So that was an idea that Frank had several months ago, and he basically emailed me and said, "Do you have any ideas of what you would like design-wise on a singing bowl, and how would you design a singing bowl in terms of size and sound and things like that?" So we talked about it and designed this singing bowl, and I'm super excited about it. Yeah, if anyone's interested, they can find it on my, there's pictures of it on my Instagram page. And so on the back of it, there's the caduceus, which is the sort of Kundalini symbol surrounded by the cycles of the moon and the planets. On the side is a Chi Rho symbol, which is a Greek symbol that represents Christ. and the sun and the moon as well. And then on the inside of the bowl is the all-seeing eye. So I chose those symbols just to sort of symbolize my own awakening journey, and hopefully for folks that ended up with the bowl, that those symbols would kind of serve as reminders to them too, and sort of like signposts along the way. Sometimes symbols can carry a lot of meaning that we can't quite put into words.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. I totally agree about symbols. I love a symbol. Jessica asked, what has Insight Timer brought to your life as a student and as a teacher? And that is a question for everyone.
Can I answer that first?
Yes, Violet, and then Maria.
I'm sorry, I had to jump in there and say obviously patience, but anyway, go on, Maria.
Thanks. Yeah, I have an immediate answer because for me, I can't, because of I'm at the moment I'm physically limited. It's provided a window out into the world really, and that I can keep developing my practice and keep developing. In fact, because I normally do community singing groups, so I would have had 4 singing groups before in person, and so I'd be working with big groups and being really physically energetic. And now I can sit and all you can see is my shoulders, so I might be fidgeting my legs, or I might be like, adjusting my seat trying to get comfortable because I don't feel well, but I can still sing and I can still inhabit the same healing space. So it's sort of transformed what I do, because now I'm almost performing instead of receiving, but it's sort of, so it's actually helped me to develop my voice to the next step, and to obviously connect with a whole load of new beautiful people, which is lovely, and just to enable me to keep working and to meet other teachers. And it's been quite magical. Even though it's virtual, it's still real, it's still very, very real, and you're opening up to just something different. And then next, in 2 weeks time, I'm actually going to bring back my in-person practice from a version of the Insight Timer, and I'm going to do a live event in my local town, which is based on the Insight Timer sessions that I'm doing. So it's all going back out now into the whole world, and I think it's going to be the most magical thing I've ever done. So it's definitely brought a lot to my practice and my development. So yeah.
Thank you. Kirsten.
Yeah, so Insight Timer has brought me so much. I think that goes for most of us, whether we're a teacher or a student, because it's such an amazing community and there's so much love and support everywhere. Um, as a teacher, it well, it brings me an amazing community where I can share my gifts that I would not have had. And it's so amazing when you do something and there's people who actually listen and who like what you do and who encourage you to do more of it. And it's really helped me grow and be more confident and believe in myself more than when I started, and I was just trying things out. And then I started with the chimes. I was like, I don't know if they like it, but let's just try it. And then people were like, ooh, I will, like, give us more of that. And I was like, okay. And I was little step by step. But if I look back now, and I've had people, some of my fans here tell me that they see how much I've changed, how much I've grown since I started. And it's all thanks to this whole community, that because people believe in me so much, I cannot not believe in myself, because it's impossible to ignore all the things that people say, these the reviews that they write, um, the things that they say in the chats, or the messages that people send me, the donations they give. But it's not about the money. It's about the fact that people love it so much and it does something for them. It changes something in their lives, or in the moment people who feel bad and after the meditation they feel better. And you know, I'm like, okay, but it's just so rewarding and so amazing, and it's just so magical. And yeah, so everyone who's here, who's listening or watching or listening to the replay, thank you so much, because this is thanks to you that, you know, that I've been able to grow and to feel more confident and to believe in myself more. So thank you so much. And yeah, and one more thing I really want to mention is that Insight Timer has brought me so many new friends among the listeners and the teachers. This just, and it keeps growing, more and more friends, and it's just so amazing. And I love the whole, you know, technology thing that brings us from people from all over the world together in one place, and we can be friends with people from everywhere. So
Thank you. Don?
Yeah, I was smiling at Kirsten's answer, and forgot to unmute myself for a second. So that was really sweet, Kirsten. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm probably a tad older than all of you here. So I remember when it, like, you probably can't imagine this, but I had a friend in Europe that I was pen pals with, and it literally took 6 weeks for an airmail letter to get over to your pen pal. And it was like $4 or $5 a minute to talk to him on the telephone. So if you think about 6 weeks for this thing to travel, right, all the way across, and then they have to decide when they're going to write a letter, and then it travels all the way back. The communication was like every 2 or 3 months that you had with people. So this is phenomenal to me, to be able to sit in the live events and have this group of wonderful people come every week and from all over the world. It just feels so enlivening to me. So I'd say that's one thing that Insight Timer, the experience with Insight Timer, has brought me as a teacher, is that sense of being connected across the world, and that people find what's happening for me in my spiritual life, my spiritual path, to be engaging and relevant to them. So that was kind of a big surprise, that things that I'm working on or going through that I share on my live events, that people resonate with and can relate to. And that's really cool, because at this point in my spiritual path, a lot of it is about expression as opposed to kind of the inward journey. It's way more outward. So Maria, I'm relating a lot to you, and you're talking about music and singing, and which is something I love to do. And it sounds like your accent might be an Irish accent. It sounds like, which is my background. And so maybe we're those Irish singers. As a student, though, I started with Insight Timer, I think in 2014, and Sarah Blondin was the first teacher that I connected with to listen to her tracks. And if you don't know about Sarah Blondin's tracks on Insight Timer, I just think they're magical and so sweet and touching. And I would literally listen to one of them every day for a week, and I just went through like her whole repertoire, doing that for like a year, and found it so incredibly insightful and moving for me. And some of the other teachers, I mentioned Muji earlier, Stefan Pende Wormland, I think I'm saying his name right. He's from Austria. He's a wonderful teacher here. Sonic Yogi and your wonderful music. That's been so great. And the Wong Janice, whose music I love here, and I play, like I actually play her cello for the crown chakra every morning, and I have for months when I have my coffee, and at every live event during the meditation, because I just think it's so marvelous. So to feel these wonderful teachers and have their impact in my life, to open up space for my own evolution, I would say, Jessica, that's my biggest takeaway from Insight Timer as a student. Thanks for that question, Jessica.
And thanks, Don. And I don't know if you saw the chat, but lots of us had pen pals. I want to bring pen pals back, actually. I've been working on that with the school that I work in, because I think they're a really fun, amazing way for people to sort of step out of tech, but still connect.
Yeah, writing by hand. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. All right.
It's
Cool.
old school.
Yeah, old school. I like old school.
Thank you so much. Yes, Jessica wrote in the chat, oh my God, Melanie, sending recipe via pen pals from all over the world. So I actually had a pen pal from Europe, and that's what we did. We exchanged recipes back in the day. Alejandro.
I've never had a pen pal. Not in handwriting, not to expose anyone's age, but I think I'm the youngest one here. So as a student, Insight Timer has truly, I started Insight Timer in 2020 as a regular student when circles, before groups were circles, um and it brought a sense of community. We were in the middle of lockdowns, and I had gone through a big transition in my life, and I was stuck at home. And not only did it bring healing and continuous healing to practice and listen to the guided meditations, and to listen to the music, and to find stillness in the middle of the chaos that was happening in the world, but the sense of community, finding people around the world who understood the journey, was so beautiful for me. So as a student, it brought that sense of community in my own healing journey. And then when I became a teacher, what Kristen said resonates with me, the fact that you cannot not believe in yourself when so many people believe in you also. And it's like I always say, just because we're on this side of the screen does not mean that our journey that we've suddenly arrived. We're practicing it, as teachers, as guides, as coaches, we're only 3-5 steps ahead. And the journey continues from a different perspective. And it's the community, it's the holding of hands as we walk forward, and as we heal, and as we grow, that's really, really resonated. And it's the ability. I was a mentor for men before Insight Timer, and the ability to bring vulnerability to strangers that I don't even see, and to resonate, and the ability to have technology, God bless OBS, and to have this community, and to create space for healing in the distance. It's so beautiful, it's so magical, it's so spiritual. When in the past, I would have thought, as a teacher, as a guide, I would have thought, we have to be in, in this room, in this circle, this connection, and to be guided to offer the same space in this setting, in this platform, has been so beautiful. So the growth as a teacher, that I've experienced, and as a coach that I've experienced because of Insight Timer, has been beautiful, not only in my journey as a teacher, but in my journey as a practitioner. So it's been amazing. The few months that I've been doing lives here has been just beautiful, magical, if to put a word, spiritual, beyond what words can describe.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. Violet.
I was joking before about the confidence, but our patience, confidence, a lot of things it's taught me. I want to say, because when I first got on as a teacher, I had no idea what I was going to do. And the one thing that being a teacher and a student has taught me is definitely to believe in yourself. Like, I want to echo what everybody else here has been saying, because I doubted myself a lot. I didn't think I had enough to offer to be a teacher. And, who was going to want to listen to me anyway? And I started out with my crystals and my cards, and it has evolved to this, which Ask Your Guides to me is like my passion project. Like, will literally not sleep to make sure that this is working. And, and thank you, everybody, also the patience and the confidence that you give me, because it doesn't always, yes, Jessica, I want to be the Oprah of IT. I say that all the time. The confidence that you give me because I'm struggling, the volume's not working, something's not working, but you're also patient and you wait, and you keep kind of giving me that push, with tracks, because I wasn't really, didn't think I was good at making tracks either. And I got so much positive feedback and so much encouragement. Like, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all that positive feedback and that encouragement. So this wouldn't be happening right now, because I would have given up a long time ago. I would have been like, I can't figure out this program. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm out. So I think definitely for me, it's the confidence and the belief in myself. So thank you for that. Before I get teary-eyed, because Alejandro's over there and he makes me cry. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Well, a question came in for Daniel. I'm going to ask you, Daniel, and then I'm going to go back to one that came in that is tied directly to what we just answered. But Daniel, what happened that you knew it was time to jump into what you were doing? And that's from Dina, another teacher here on Insight Timer.
And thank you, Dina. That is such a beautiful question. There wasn't really a defining moment for me, but kind of like what some of the others have shared, it's been sort of incremental. I woke up one morning, I believe it was in June 2017. That's how I remember it, at least. I had my own spiritual journey, but it had been very personal and almost kind of secret. I didn't want to share it with anyone. And so I woke up this morning and woke up knowing that I was to start a website where I would blog and share my insights and my realizations and what I have been taught and what I have caught. And the beauty of this website was that it was completely anonymous. So I didn't share my name. I didn't nowhere. No one knew who I was. And then it sort of just spiraled from there into other things, as it is when we say yes to something, when we make a choice to move in a particular direction, doors begin to open up, and we will be beautifully. We've been talking about affirmations. One of my affirmations one of my go-to affirmations is that perfect preparation and unfolding is always happening, meaning that when we begin to move towards a vision or a dream, and I didn't really have a vision back then, but there was something calling me, there was something pulling me from within, then we will be guided along that path. So one thing led to another. I began being comfortable with teaching, with sharing my name, and eventually I started doing, because people kept reaching out once I had gone public with who I was. People began to reach out to ask for coaching and those kind of things. And at first I was very uncomfortable with that. It was terrifying. I didn't charge for it because like someone said before, who am I to think that I have anything to offer? So I did it sort of pro bono. It led to the next thing, which led to the next thing, which led to the next thing. There's a whole story around how I found Insight Timer about 3 years ago. I was involved in a completely different thing. And someone reached out to me, sent me an email. We had a conversation the day before about meditation, actually. And they sent me an email, and something in their email address caught my eye. I don't usually look at email addresses, and I usually don't look them up, but there was something about their email address that there was something there. So I went to their website, and it was a beautiful website. I browsed around for a while. Didn't see anything in particular. So I sort of questioned that intuitive nudge that I'd been given. Why did I come here? And then just as I was about to leave that website, I saw like a banner, a very small banner saying, come meditate with me on Insight Timer. And I was like, insight, what is that? And so I looked it up and signed up. And here it's a continuous process of unfolding, and only in retrospect can I see choices that I made and opportunities that opened up that weren't really defining, but that really moved me forward. So it wasn't like I woke up one morning and said, "Oh, I'm gonna be a teacher. I'm gonna be coaching. I'm gonna be, doing all these things." It's kind of like a flower that unfolds. It unfolds, but we cannot really see the unfoldment happening. When we go to bed and we wake up in the morning, we see that something has happened during the night. But were we to stare at and look at it, we wouldn't see the unfolding of the petals. And that's kind of how it's been for me. It's very incremental. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much.
That was so beautiful. And I don't know if you saw in the chat, everyone was saying how beautiful your work on Insight Timer is.
Absolutely.
So the question that came in that related to the one that we answered a moment ago was, and I think many of you answered this part of it, do you listen to other teachers on Insight Timer? And if so, can you recommend another teacher that isn't on this panel?
Good question.
Don.
Yeah, I mentioned a few just a couple minutes ago, but in some ways, it sort of depends what you're looking for, I think. And there's some teachers that have very wonderful kind of structures that they teach, and there's teachers here who have like very open processes that they teach. There's wonderful musicians, and I would say that again, some of my favorites have been from the non-musician side have been Sarah Blondin, Stefan Pende Wormland. There's a wonderful teacher from New York, Cisse Paul Cooper, who teaches Shikantaza Zen meditation, which is Shikantaza means just sitting. And that was a really mind-blowing way of thinking about meditation for me when I started listening to his teachings. Because literally it's from Dogen, the Zen teacher Dogen from the 1300s, who just taught sitting, and everything else that happens is okay. So just sit. It doesn't matter what happens. It's all okay. And to take that mindset in was really life-changing for me a few years ago. Tara Brach, of course, wonderful teacher. And there was one other person I wanted to say. Oh yeah, well, Mooji. I think Mooji doesn't have a huge number of tracks, but the ones that are here, I think are really pretty phenomenal. And so I highly recommend those. So there you go.
Thank you. Kirsten.
Yeah, so I'm really thinking really hard because there's a couple that I listen to, but I'm like, oh, what's their names? So there's a few that I will look up and I will share in the Ask Your Guide group. But I already mentioned Kenneth Soares, who has really powerful affirmations, but also really powerful guided journeys. And I love the Wang Janice with her cello, and I also love mantras. I love Prashanti Paz and Günther Gore. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Günther, who's really and really amazing people. And I think you all know Blossom Violet, but she's an amazing piano player. And Saturday afternoons here, often I listen to Joseph Nemo when he goes live with his piano, and that's amazing. And Blossom and Joseph have amazing live sessions. Well, there's a lot of people who do amazing things, but these are a couple that I try to catch live when I can. And yeah, and there's I listen to some breathwork sessions sometimes, but I can't remember their names, so I'll share them in the group. So yeah.
Thank you. Alejandro?
They said no one that's here, so I'm not gonna mention Daniel and Sonic Yogi, so I'm not gonna mention them. But I mentioned in the chat, Daniel's prayers are, and the way I wrote it was their spirit's heart verbalized. They're so good, so good. And Sonic Yogi, so good. But that are not here, I'll shout out some of my friends. Maisha, who is in the chat and it's here, has amazing lives. She has the ability to create a space for healing that as soon as her camera turns on, you can feel the atmosphere change. On Wednesday, I was in a public coffee shop and I said, let me just join in just to background music while I work. And as soon as she turned on the camera, I started bawling. And everybody knows I'm a crier. I love it. But it was the atmosphere was so good. So Maisha is amazing. And then for those who are Spanish speakers and English speakers, Juan Pablo Castañeda, he is so good. He brings this childlike wonder to the practice. It's this beautiful, just this beautiful way of bringing healing from a joyful place. Oh, and it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. So yeah, I'll say those two. Um, but there's so many teachers here who have um Dora. Dora is also amazing. Kendra. Kendra has this beautiful way of guiding you through vulnerability and surrender. We are so blessed to have this platform with so many teachers who are willing to give part of their essence of who they are into the recordings and into their lives. It's just amazing. I am I'm I'm just I'm when I was asked to be here and I saw who was going to be here, I'm speechless, although I do talk a lot, so I'm going to stop.
No, thank you. Jonathan?
Yeah, as they were talking, I just thought some teachers that I'd like to share. And like we're all saying, there's just so many to choose from, and it's hard to remember everyone at the moment. But some other musicians that I've really liked. There's a musician named Diva Sonic. And she doesn't have as large of a presence here on Insight Timer, but she's a wonderful musician. She does lives here. So if you can catch her lives here, she's a wonderful artist. Of course, Wakes. Many of you are familiar with Wakes. They're wonderful people, and I've enjoyed getting to know them. There's a teacher here. I'm in Atlanta. There's a teacher here in my area that's I've really enjoyed watching her lives. I've never met her in person, but she has a wonderful spirit. Her name's Barbara Gibson, so definitely check her out. So those are just a few off the top of my head, but like there's literally, hundreds that I admire and that I really enjoy, and all of the other musicians. Some of the people that I remember sort of starting the journey with were Gunter Georg. I think that's how his last name's pronounced. And of course, the Wong Janis. Yeah, I love the musical community here too. I know it's meditation, but there's so many wonderful musicians too. So that's awesome. And so yeah, that's just a few from my perspective.
Thank you. And I agree with you because I'm a music lover and I just want to add Blue Dragon Healing. He's very new on Insight Timer, but his work is beautiful. And Rachel Vibe, it's Rachel Vibe. She does great work too. And I listen to them both. Well, I want to thank everybody that has joined and is on the panel. And I would love to just have you guys wrap up, do a little, for all the people that joined and didn't hear your intros, anything you'd like to add? What would be the easiest thing to do to support you? Pierre, did you want to add?
I think you're muted.
Yeah, thank you. No, I just wanna, if I can, just a couple of minutes to answer the Jessica question, because it was really interesting to me to show, because on Insight Timer, I really discovered an incredible variety of practices that I didn't know before I started meditation, tapping, inner child, somatic work, many practices. And so, yeah, that's as a student, it's like an incredible, it's like going into a library with an incredible amount of things to discover. So I like the question, because for me, it's been incredible. And as a teacher, I mean, there are two sides. One side is as professionally, you learn to work on that limit, pushing yourself on the edge of your abilities without stressing out, of course. And as a more spiritual level, well, I already talked about it. It's just been amazing, the feedbacks. And as we all know, as we teach, we also learn a lot. And if I can, 1 minute to share some names also that I'm grateful as other teachers, if I may. I really loved the Yin Yoga session. So I would like to recall Hannah Brown and also Samantha Christofferson. It's just a couple of names. There are so many. I really donate so much because it's incredibly helpful for my body health. And then I really love Maria singing. For example, I do love lives. I do connect with dozens of lives. So I suggest anyone to participate in our lives, because it's so important for us to see you and to feel your energy. I wanted to mention also the inner child work from Liz Doyle. Yeah, it's really helped me. And Bassam Younes is a Lebanese teacher. It's really insightful, and I really appreciate it very much. And thank you very much for having me and asking me to join. It's been wonderful to see you all.
Thank you. So if you guys just want to share best ways that students can support you, that's always a great way to wrap up, and where they can find you. Maria.
Do you want me to complete already? I'm out the mark.
Everything you're doing is coming out here. Sorry.
Just I complete, so then I mute myself. Yeah, just check out my profile. I have almost 50 tracks there. I work on different solfeggio frequencies. You can find, of course, something you can see fit for you. And yeah, attend when I go live if you can. It's beautiful to see you there. My profile, there is also some playlist there you can bookmark, so to maybe use as for sleeping or doing chores, doing things, and listen to music. It's my suggestion as what I do also. Thank you again.
I think I was just going to sing. I have a one-line song, and I thought I'm just going to sing that a few times, and that's my closing vibe. And I have a matching cup to go along with the song, and it's: the sun rises every morning, and the light will always shine on shine on us. And that's, I think, my best way of communicating. And I'm doing it live in 45 minutes actually, so you're all very welcome. Yay, I got one. That's always my mission. So
Thank you, Maria. Daniel?
All right, so you're always welcome to check out my profile, Daniel Roqueyo. I've got quite an extensive playlist, actually. I absolutely love recording the meditations and the talks, and I have a number of audio courses, working on yet another. I just picked up doing lives on Tuesdays at 9:30 Eastern, I believe it is. So you're welcome to join in there for a beautiful conversation about what it is to walk this path. And like some of the other teachers have shared, this is not about so much lecturing, but this is about us having a conversation from where we are with the experiences that we are having on this path, me included. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you all, and thank you so much again, Violet and Melanie and all the others on the panel. It's been such a pleasure and joy meeting with you, and I hope to meet you all soon again. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Alejandro?
I thought I was like, yes, one live, and Alejandro's not crying. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Um, yeah, right. As if. You can you can find me here. My name is Alejandro H, or my @ is mindfully.alex. You can find my links in the bio. My course is only a 3-day course. It's embracing vulnerability, and some of my tracks are there. I go live every Saturday, 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So yeah, and you can also find my group, Journey to Vulnerability, here on Insight Timer. And again, thank you, Violet. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you to all the teachers. It's been a privilege and an honor to be here among all of you. And Maria, I'll talk to you after the live is over. Ma'am, beautiful. Thank you for your spirit. Thank you, Daniel, for being here. Thank you, Sonic. Thank you, Don. Thank you. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, Kristen. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kirsten?
Yes. So, what I wanted to say is for everyone that um, stop doubting yourself, start believing in yourself, and you don't have to be perfect to be amazing. People always go and try to, achieve certain standards that probably you're the only one making these things up in your mind. So be kind to yourself and just trust that you are amazing the way you are. And that's really something that I like to repeat a lot. And yeah, and if you're curious to what I do, well, please go and check out my profile. You can find everything there. I have over 100 meditations in here. I have some chime sound healing tracks. I made a couple of playlists with my tracks, so you can easily listen and find them. My courses, human design, and evening rituals, and may sound like two different things, but I believe that all the little things, all the different things that we can do, and that's like all the things that we can do here in Insight Timer, not just mine, that all the little things, they add up, and every small step moves you forward. And everything combined creates magic, and life is magical, even though sometimes it might not seem that way. But the sun will always shine again, like Maria said, sang, and that touched my heart, by the way. Yeah, and thank you all for being here. I love being here with this panel. Thank you, Violet and Melanie, and everyone else here, and everyone who's watching or listening. Or thank you so much. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Daniel, did you want to add something? No, okay. Don?
Well, it's an interesting question to end with, Melanie. How can people support us? So, yeah, that's a lovely thought. Usually in Insight Timer, I'm thinking about giving to people, so it's cool to consider how people could be supportive. I do my live events Wednesdays at 12 noon Eastern time, and it's a wonderful community that comes together. I really, really love it. I get pretty buzzed and stay high for most of the day afterwards, sometimes for a couple days, because it's very dynamic and people are sharing, and again, it's from all around the world. So that part's just so incredibly sweet and beautiful, I think. I do this strange thing. I started in 2007 on a joke. I do live portrayals and talks of Mahatma Gandhi. And you can read about that a bit on my website. It's donmacavinci.com. But I've done 138 of them across the world, 6 trips to India, teaching Gandhi's philosophy in India. And last fall, a 2-week American Gandhi peace tour of Sri Lanka, which was really, really fascinating and wonderful. So a way to support me around that would just be to go to my website and read about that. It's been a magical part of my life, and it's kind of trippy, to be honest, that this has happened. So, but come to my live events on Wednesdays at 12 noon Eastern time, and that'd be a great way to get to know each other. I'd love to meet everybody who came. And thanks to all the panelists. It's been really, really lovely listening to you talk, and sweet getting to be on the same circle with you. So thank you for that.
And thank you all of you for joining us. I didn't get to say this in the beginning because I was messing with sound, but you know, Sonic Yogi, like I never miss one of your sound baths. I absolutely love them. And Don has a coffee shop meditation that I literally listened to every day for like 2 years when the pandemic started, because I love coffee and I love that so much. You know, so I have admired so many of you for so long, you know, Kirsten and, oh my God, Daniel, that soothing voice that I used to listen to all the time. For me to be here on screen with all of you, it's like, I can't even tell you how much that means to me. So, you know, thank you, all of you amazing teachers, for joining us. You know, Alejandro, who comes in every time I tell him I'm short, one person canceled, please, can you come? And, you know, it could be 10 minutes before the live and he's here. So I just want to thank all of you for everything that you do and for being here for me and for us and this amazing community. And thank you for allowing us to go over time today with our little glitches and being so supportive. And with that, unless anyone has anything else to add, Laurie says, I'm making you cry. Oh, Laurie, thank you. And don't mention the word cry, because, you know, that's like my trigger. I'll start. So, and Alejandro and I will sit here and we'll cry together for an hour. So we have to go. So unless anybody else, you know, feel free to unmute yourself. If you have anything else you want to add, feel free to do so. Otherwise, I am going to end the live. And I'm going to say goodbye to all of you, and thank you, everybody.
So much, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Monica, thank you. That is my goal, to be the Oprah of Insight Timer. So I love that. All right, everybody. Thank you.